the cities in the Nashville area, Franklin might be the hardest one to explain to someone who's never been here. Because on paper, it looks like just another suburb. Nice schools, good zip code, close to enough to the city. And sure, all of that is true. But the second you actually walk to downtown Franklin or walk downtown Franklin, you realize something is different here. There's a reason Franklin has been on nearly every major best places to live list for the last decade straight. There's a reason people who move here from LA, New York, Chicago, and Boston say that it exceeded every expectation they had. And there's a reason the new construction market there has been on one of the most active in all of Tennessee. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what life in Franklin actually looks like. The downtown, the new construction landscape, the food and retail scene, the education options, and yes, the honest part too, because I'm not going to pretend there aren't a few trade-offs worth knowing about. Let's get into it. Quick note, before we dive in, if you're already in research mode on a Franklin or Williamson County move, I work with relocating families and retirees every week. I specialize in this market, especially the new construction side, where it's easy to get lost without the right guide. Link is in the description, zero pressure. Now, let's talk Franklin. Franklin sits about 21 miles south of downtown Nashville along the I-65 corridor, fully inside Williamson County. And what makes Franklin unique in this market is that it occupies a very specific positioning. It has more character than Brentwood, more inventory than Brentwood, and more energy than any suburbs further south. It's also the most complete suburb in the region in the sense that it generally can satisfy a wide range of buyer profiles. You want a walkable urban energy and a vibrant local food scene? Franklin has that downtown. You want a brand new construction and a master plan community? Franklin has more of that than anywhere else in Williamson County. You want Williamson County schools and a true neighborhood feel without paying Brentwood prices? Franklin checks that box too. That breadth is actually what makes Franklin the most searched and most asked about market in all of my conversations with relocating buyers. It's a city that meets a lot of people where they are. Downtown Franklin is generally one of the great American main streets, and I say that having spent time in a lot of comparable markets around the country. This one is special. It's not a manufactured lifestyle center built to look charming. It's a real walkable, historic downtown that's been around for over 200 years and has continued to evolve without losing its identity. The historic district runs along Main Street and spreads into surrounding blocks, and it's loaded with independently owned restaurants, wine, craft cocktail bars, boutique clothing, and home goods shops, coffee shops, and dessert shops that have actual lines on a Saturday morning. There's a farmer's market, regular live music events, festivals throughout the year, and a year-round energy that makes the downtown feel alive in a way that most suburban town centers simply don't. And one thing I always tell out-of-state buyers who only see Franklin on a screen, you need to come and walk this downtown before you make any final decisions. Because the pictures don't fully capture what it feels like to be there. It has a pull to it. People who come for a weekend visit leave wanting to live here. That's not an accident. It's the cumulative effect of a community that has invested genuinely in its public spaces and its local business culture. And here's the thing that matters for real estate. Communities with great downtowns hold their value. People don't leave them. Demand stays durable through market cycles because you're not just buying a house. You're buying into a place that people actively want to be a part of. That's a long-term asset, not just a lifestyle feature. If you're coming into this market specifically looking for new construction, Franklin deserves your full attention because it has more new construction inventory, more active communities, and more builder options than anywhere else in Williamson County right now. We're seeing new construction starting around the 1.1 million mark and moving up from there depending on the community, the builder, the lot, and the finish level. The communities range from more traditional neighborhood designs with smaller lots and higher walkability to large estate style developments on the outskirts of Franklin where you're getting more land and more space between neighbors. Now, here's what I have to give you a straight warning. Navigating new construction in Franklin without expert guidance is one of the most common mistakes relocating buyers make. The builder's agent at the model home represents the builder, not you. They're excellent professionals, but their job is to serve their employer. Without someone in your corner who knows the difference between builder incentive packages, understands which floor plans hold resale value, and can read a construction contract before you sign it, you are exposed. I work with new construction in Franklin consistently. I know which builders are delivering on their promises, which communities are appreciating faster, and what questions they ask before you commit to a lot. That's the kind of insight that saves buyers real money, not just anxiety. If new construction is on your list, please reach out before you walk into any model home. Let's talk about the day-to-day lifestyle infrastructure, because this is something that matters enormously to people relocating from coastal markets, and Franklin delivers at a level that surprises a lot of buyers who assume they'd have to compromise on this. Whole Foods is right here in Franklin. For the buyer coming from a neighborhood in LA, San Francisco, or the Upper East Side where a Whole Foods run, which is part of their weekly rhythm, that's not a small thing. It signals a certain level of market sophistication and daily convenience that a lot of Nashville suburbs still can't offer. But the dining scene is where Franklin really shines. You've got everything from acclaimed chef-driven farm-to-table restaurants in the downtown historic district to casual neighborhood spots, Italian, traditional sushi, craft breweries, and a kind of rooftop bar experience that will cost 3 times as much in a major city. The restaurant quality here has been on an upward trajectory for years, and it's now genuinely competitive with some of the best dining neighborhoods in Nashville proper. On the retail side, you have access to the Cool Springs corridor, the same Costco, Target, and full commercial infrastructure I mentioned in the Brentwood video. Literally minutes from most Franklin neighborhoods. And within Franklin itself, the boutique shopping downtown, the specialty fitness studios, the medical and professional services infrastructure, it all adds up to a day-to-day experience that doesn't feel like a sacrifice from where you're coming from. For most people, it feels like an upgrade. This one doesn't get talked about enough in Franklin relocation content, and I think it should. Columbia State University College has a campus right here in Franklin. And for certain buyer profiles, this is actually a meaningful quality of life and family resource. Columbia State is a regionally accredited institution that offers 2-year degree programs, workforce development certifications, and continuing education courses. For a family relocating where one spouse is looking at a career pivot, wants to finish a degree, or is pursuing a professional certification, having an accessible, affordable, accredited campus literally in your backyards is a real practical asset. For families with high school students, dual enrollment programs at Columbia State allow kids to earn college credit while still in high school, which is both academically advantaged and a significant cost saver when it comes to eventual university tuition. That's a tangible financial benefit that a lot of families don't factor into their relocation equation until after they moved here. And beyond the academic angle, the presence of a college campus in a community creates a certain kind of energy. Lectures, cultural events, continuing education programming, and a more intellectually diverse population than you'd find in a purely residential suburb. For buyers who value the kind of intellectual and cultural texture in a place, it matters. Like all of Williamson County, Franklin is served by one of the best public school districts in Tennessee, but Franklin specific schools deserve a closer look because the district's depth is really on full display here. Franklin High School is a flagship campus, large enough to offer a full spectrum of AP courses, performing arts, athletics, and extracurricular program, but with a culture and a community identity that larger metro schools often lose. The middle and elementary schools feeding into it are consistently strong performers. And because Franklin has more population and more development than Brentwood, there's also been a greater investment in newer school facilities in recent years. Families moving into newer communities on the south side of Franklin are offering zoning into schools that are only a few years old, which means modern facilities, newer technology infrastructure, and a newer amenity programs. Franklin also has a strong private school ecosystem in and around it. Battleground Academy being the most prominent, with a centuries-old tradition of college prep academics and a reputation that carries weight in college admission offices. For families where private education is part of the plan, Franklin's proximity to BGA and other options in the broader Williamson County network is a real advantage. All right, the honest part. Franklin is growing fast, like faster than almost any comparable city in the country. And that growth, as welcome as it is in many ways, creates some real friction that you need to know about before you move here. Traffic on the main Franklin corridors, particularly around Cool Springs and the I-65 exchange, can get generally congested during peak hours. If your commute takes you north towards Nashville on a weekday morning or south on Friday afternoon, you'll feel it. It's not Los Angeles, but it's no longer the quiet country seat it was 15 years ago either. Downtown parking on weekends can be challenging, especially around major events and the farmers market season. The city's working on this, but it's worth knowing that you'll sometimes need to park a few blocks out and walk in. Most people I know who live here consider this a small price to pay for having a downtown worth walking to, but I want you to have the full picture. And on the housing side, Franklin's average sales price is north of 1.1 million and rising. New construction in desirable communities can move quickly, especially when a builder drops a good incentive package on finished spec home. If you're serious about buying in Franklin, you need to be ready to move when the right home comes available. This is not a market where the best properties sit and wait. Let me paint the picture of the buyer who absolutely thrives in Franklin. You're relocating from high-cost metro, California, the Northeast, Illinois, Colorado, Washington. You've done well, your budget is real, and you're looking for a place where you don't feel like you're giving something up. You want a walkable downtown energy, real restaurants, real culture, real community, not just a subdivision with a pool. You want new construction options with quality builders, but you also want someone who can guide you through that process so you're not walking in blind. You care about schools deeply, and you want both public and private options on the table. And you want to feel like you moved somewhere, not just somewhere away from something. Franklin is that place. It's that rare suburb that has generally earned its reputation, not just inherited it from proximity to a major city, but built it from the ground up through decades of intentional investment in its downtown, its schools, its community culture, and its quality of life. If that description resonates with you, I'd love to talk.